Hey guys, welcome to today's video on how to eat sugar healthier. I am going to share my 5 top tips for you on what I believe is a way to manage your sugar addiction. And if you are new to my channel, hi, my name is Elika. I'm a trusted advisor for entrepreneurs and business leaders who want to have a huge impact in the world, and they want to look at their energy and their lifestyle and have harmony both personally and professionally. So let's jump into today's video. So I've made some notes to keep me on track and to share as much value to you as I can on this area. So the first one I want to talk about is how you actually manage your sugar through your blood levels. Now, what happens is when people eat foods that are high in sugar, or let's just say, namely all the processed foods, I typically just say avoid flour and sugar in massive consumption, and you don't go too far wrong. But when people do consume these foods a lot, what happens is they spike their blood sugar. And what you want to do then is, rather than just relying on your body having to constantly produce more insulin to remove the excess blood sugar and then becoming insulin resistant and then ending up with diabetes, you want to actually think about these lifestyle hacks that we've already researched and we already know that can guide you to being able to live realistically, have sustainable habits, and still enjoy the foods that you like. And one of my favorite ways to do that is by eating fiber first. When you eat fiber first, fiber is what slows down the sugar spike that you have from food. So if you think of fiber as this roughage that's inside a lot of the food groups, and namely, the obvious ones are fruits and vegetables, especially vegetables, because they contain less starch and sugars than fruit do, but they also have high amounts of fiber. These foods, and also whole grains, these foods contain that fiber. And when you remove that fiber, like for example, you have orange juice and you have the orange juice without the bits, what you're doing when you remove that fiber is you're allowing all of even the natural sugars to go into your body and not have the fiber slow them down. The fiber is almost, if you can imagine going fishing and you put your fishing net into the sea and you pull out the fish, what will happen is all these small things will pass through the fishing net, but you'll be left with the fish that can't get through the holes. That fiber is literally creating a mesh, like a fishing net with smaller holes, allowing things to pass through into the body, allowing the sugars to pass through, but at a much slower rate. So how would you practically do this in day-to-day living? Well, let's say you have a plate of food. Let's say a breakfast. So what's popular where I live in Asia now is Western breakfast of poached eggs or scrambled or fried eggs with avocado on toast. So of course, most people are not necessarily looking at the quality of the bread that they consume, and they're also looking at bread as like a normal everyday food and not as a processed food item, which it is. So when you have like these excess bread and you dig into it, even though the avocado is there and the eggs are there, which are great sources of healthy fats and great sources of protein, you're still going to get that large consumption of bread. So what you might want to do is you might want to start with eating the avocado first and getting some of the avocado into your body. You might want to think of adding a little side salad also to that breakfast, so that you can fuel on that side salad, the greens in the side salad, and then dig into the rest of the eggs and the rest of the avocado with the bread. You see this all the time in different meals where you have like a little bit of veg, a little bit of meat, and maybe a huge carb source. So another example of this could be spaghetti bolognese. So you could be really tempted to just dig into the spaghetti and then try and put all the sauce and the meat on top. But really what you want to do is you want to add some extra roughage, some extra fiber. So you could add some more rocket or stir in some spinach into your sauce, and you might want to eat that bit first with the meaty sauce, with the spinach, or if it's got a side salad or some rocket, eat that first before you dive into the whole spaghetti. Now, just by rearranging the plate in that way, in the order that you eat, by going for the fiber first, you probably want to go for your protein, your healthy fats next, and then for your carbs last. Just by changing that order, that can significantly reduce the body's response to the sugar that is created from those carbs that you're eating. So that's my first tip, is to start with fiber first. My second is fats. Now, I want you to look at fats as a slow form of energy source for the body, and the carbohydrates, which all convert to sugar, as a fast form of energy in the body. So just notice what kids are like when they have sweets, right, which is sugars from the carbs that convert to sugar fast, compared to if they were to eat like an avocado, or let's say a Greek yogurt with some low GI fruit like berries on top. The difference in the reaction to the children's body, which is extremely sensitive, and compared to an adult, you see it, they have this rush of energy just come to them. So what we want to do is we want to use fats as our main energy source. And when we use fats as our main energy source, the body adapts to using that slow form, and it doesn't crave for this quick fix of energy all the time, which we get from carbohydrates or high sugar and processed foods. So when we think about a breakfast like, let's say, the eggs and the avocado and toast, by adding that avocado, we're getting that big dose of healthy fats. By being conscious about not avoiding, having the fats that are on the meat, but eating that and knowing that that's going to satiate us, but it's also going to provide our body with those healthy fats. By not going for these like skimmed milks and skinny yogurts, but really being conscious to have the full fat versions of them, where all of that healthy fat is contained in there. That's what's going to give your body that slow form of energy. And when you have that, you're going to notice that when you do take any sugars, first thing, the sugar doesn't create a spike in the way that it does without the healthy fats. You're going to find that those healthy fats slow down that process of the sugar. But you're also going to find yourself fuller for longer and not needing to require as much sugar. So my third hack is to move after you eat. So quite often we will have a big meal and we will just sit there. If you think about the habits of sometimes when you eat, some people eat at their desk, some people eat watching TV, eating on the sofa, and that can mean that you're already very comfortable and you don't have that urge to move. In fact, because you're so full, you actually just want to sit down. But actually, if you can resist that urge and actually create a habit of, as soon as you eat, moving afterwards, even if that's you go upstairs to the toilet, the idea will be you take a walk around the block, or you go for a walk, or you go and do some form of light exercise afterwards. But what that's going to do is it's going to activate the muscles in your body to need an energy source, and then what they're going to do is use that energy source from the food. So this is a really good way, because muscles are a sugar disposal system, to get those muscles to utilize that sugar that you've consumed immediately after eating. So such a simple hack, if you can make it into a habit to just think, I've got to move after I've eaten. When you do that, the other thing I notice is that the more and more I just consistently move after eating, the more I can't bear not moving after eating, because I know how good it feels, especially when I have overeaten, to just get that circulation back into the body and not feel that kind of, that sluggishness that you feel, like that tiredness that comes over you when you know you've overconsumed. So my fourth one is hydration. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Your body is made up of 70% water. If you want to get everything moving, including the overconsumption of the sugar, including the overconsumption of the food just generally, the best way to do that is to literally think about, if you wanted to clean the outside of your street and you've got a bucket of water and you just threw that bucket of water out into the street, you'd see things move. Think about when you go to the toilet. What do we have built into a toilet? A flush to use water to carry things away. What if we were to look at your body and your consumption of water as doing exactly the same? What if you thought to yourself as a habit for your mind to go to, that when I eat, and especially when I overeat or eat the foods that are not ideal for my body, I really want to assist my body in helping to carry that away. And that's exactly what you do with water, just to simplify it. And so water becomes an enabler for you to remove this excess consumption in your body. And last but not least, I want to talk to you about replacing the refined sugars in your diet with more natural varieties that can really support you in your taste buds for sweet things, but not give you the harmful effects of refined sugar without the goodness that we can get from other foods that can give you that taste as well. So I have some simple replacements that I use as a go-to for refined sugar. I can think of only one thing at the moment that I use refined sugar for, and that's when I make kombucha at home, because the kombucha really likes that refined sugar to get that, that process of the fermentation going faster. Outside of that, I don't use refined sugar for anything, and I definitely do not use artificial sweeteners, which are a chemical product, an artificially made sweetener that your body does not recognize as real and whole foods. So my number one replacement for refined sugar is coconut sugar. Coconut sugar is coming from the sap of the coconut flower, the blossom of the flower, the sap that's generated and dried, that makes coconut sugar. So you can actually buy in some forms coconut nectar, which is just beautiful in its purest state with all of the goodness from the flower inside of it, all of the fermentation that happens naturally when the bees pollinate the flower, and all of the fiber still in contact. So I absolutely love the coconut nectar, but usually what I find, especially more in Asia, that the coconut sugar is the easiest form to buy, or the coconut blocks, which I then actually boil down with a ratio of 50-50, the blocks to water to make a syrup, and I just can't keep those syrups in bottles. So coconut sugar is my go-to. It's lower in the glycemic index. It contains a lot more of the natural fibers, and it doesn't create that spike in the blood sugar that refined sugars, white or brown sugar, will do. My second favorite sweetener is raw honey. Notice I'm saying raw honey and not the pasteurized honeys that you get in the squeezy bottle that don't have all of the nutrients that are the medicinal properties that are inside raw honey. So you want to invest in getting a good quality raw honey that you can use for everyday sweetening. For thousands and thousands of years, we used honey for its medicinal properties. We used it, on wounds to stop the wound from getting bacterial infections, and we used it obviously as a natural sweetener. So when nature provides us things in such beautiful forms, we really want to be able to incorporate them. Another great sweetener I find is fruits. So especially when you're baking or you're making things that need sweetening, you can find fruits that you can either blend, for example, dates. I love dates, you can blend with a little bit of water and use that as a sweetener inside something, or just adding dates in as a natural sweetener to foods. But there are other fruits as well, like you have currants and raisins. I also love using coconut. Coconut is naturally sweet, whether you're using the cream or the milk or the flakes or the desiccated coconut pieces. And of course, there's things like yogurts where, we might blend some fruits inside it. Like I love making coconut yogurt at home, but then I like actually blending mango and having that puree and then stirring that through my yogurt to naturally sweeten my foods. Think about smoothies. We use bananas as a natural sweetener. So when you're using fruits, that is nature's natural sugar. What we just don't want to do is we don't want to remove the fiber side of the fruit. We want to use the fruit in its natural form, even if you have to blend it to change the consistency so that it's easier for you to use in whatever you're sweetening. But that's one of nature's natural foods that's not processed, that's not going to spike your blood sugar in the way that the refined sugars will do. So those are my 5 habits, ways that you can eat sugar in a more healthier way. If you have any comments on anything that I've shared or any questions, please leave those in the comments before. If you like this video, please help my channel to grow by hitting a like. And who do you know that would be interested in this topic or would benefit from listening to more of my ways that we can optimize our energy by looking at our physical, our mental, and our emotional and spiritual well-being so we can have more harmony personally and professionally? Please share this video with them, and I look forward to sharing way more energy tips, way more hacks, habits, and ways that you can incorporate having a realistic, sustainable lifestyle that really fuels you, gives you energy in its overflow so that you can go out there and do what you are here to do. So take care and I'll see you in the next one.